Hi everybody, back out at the field again today with my trusty MiG-35 here. Actually today I had a surprise waiting for me in the mail after my flight yesterday. This is a new motor I'm testing. This is the RC Timer FR2306 2650 kV. So just a tiny bit bigger and 100 more kV than the 2205 2550 motor I tested in the last video. Running the my new favorite prop, as recommended to me by RC Plane Pirate, the 6x4 APC gas prop. So I'm just going to refer to them as the 2306 and the 2205 for comparison for the rest of the flight here as I jabber. This motor is about 8 grams heavier, 52 grams, in the plane with the prop and all the hardware on it. The 2205 is about 44 grams. The bench numbers, as you might expect, since they're so close in size and kV, were almost exactly the same. A little bit more amp draw with this motor. At full throttle, I saw it was about 29 amps, just over 20, but 27.6 ounces of thrust. So very, very similar. But those bench numbers don't always tell the true story, which I'll talk about a bit more here during the flight. So I know in a previous video I mentioned I was going to be using my red MiG as the test bed for all these quad racing motors, but I decided it made a bit more sense to me. I'm going to use this gray one because I built this specifically, from a standpoint of weight and profile, drag profile and everything, to be a quad racing motor plane. So anyway, you're going to be seeing a lot more of this beastie in weeks to come. So only took 6.5 weeks for this motor to get to me. I think I could have swam to China and back faster, but oh well, what can you do, right? Okay, so here we go. Let's have a bit of a thrash. So just flying around, not not a whole lot of difference. I can't really tell if there's a big difference in the top speed or the acceleration. But I am noticing, not huge that you'd want to write home about, but there is definitely a noticeable difference in torque. So when I pull up in the vertical like this, it doesn't lag or sag. Like I could keep going up there till till I'm in the stratosphere. So definitely better torque than the 2205. Which I was kind of hoping for with a slightly larger motor. Again, so nice smooth power all the way through the loop. I'm probably using anywhere from 5 to 10% less throttle when I pull up into those loops, and again into the vertical. So that's good news for me. So it means that on days where it might be a little windier, that I'm gonna have a little bit more grunt, to fight through that wind. The one thing with the 2205 was that there were times, flying it on windy days, even with planes as light as this, where it would struggle. Whereas this one, there's no, I mean, I've accelerated vertically till the plane's almost out of sight, and I don't hear, I don't hear the motor struggling at all. Again, just nice and smooth all the way through the loop. I think with the 2205, I was probably needing to use about 70 to 75% throttle. Here I'll just punch her out vertical. No issues whatsoever. Just runs smooth and strong. I'll bring her down here so like I said, I don't know that there's, with 100 kV more and the slightly bigger size, I don't know that there's a real noticeable difference, if any, in the top end speed. Sometimes I have to watch my own videos to compare, rather than trying to figure it out here at the field. Although she moves along nicely. So this plane, I think now with a little bit of extra added weight, I'll have to weigh it again. I'm at around 570 grams, I think, so about 20 ounces. And that's with a 2200 3S battery. I'm running a 40 amp speed controller in this, and I probably would do that even though it's 29 amps on the bench. I'd probably run a 40 with it all the time anyway. All right. You know, just so that I wouldn't push a 30 amp speed controller too hard. Nice. So I'm just going to walk down this way. The landowner is doing a little bit of wood clearing in the back there with a chainsaw, so hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, so very, you know, like I said, you know, I've done a lot of bench testing over time, and you know, I even though the numbers on the bench might seem disappointing sometimes, you know, I try not to get my knickers in a knot, so to speak, because most of the time I see better performance at the field. Not all the time. Sometimes I see worse. A lot of that sometimes depends on the prop. But again, this is just such a super good prop. One of the things I watched my video yesterday and I got a bit sidetracked. The video that I watched, the sort of hour-long video by Joshua Bardwell, one of the things that I sort of took out of there, hopefully I interpreted it okay, is sometimes, you know, even with a smaller motor, like let's say a 2205, because that's a very popular size, sometimes you can make up for the lack of torque with the higher kV. So like I mentioned before, all the 2205s that I've ordered, other than that, the one I was testing yesterday, are all in the higher, you know, 2700 plus, I think, kV range. And then I've got a bunch of motors that are sort of 2306 size, similar to this one, so with higher kV. So I'm hoping that, you know, we're gonna, as we keep testing, we're gonna approach that you know, magic number. Again, I'm still you know, if compared to I mean, I think the performance here is pretty much equally as good, although the amp draw is higher compared to you know, your workhorse 2212 2200 motor, drawing probably about 5 more amps at full throttle. But you know, I'm about 15 grams, so about a half an ounce lighter with this motor, and again, plenty of torque. I don't know if head-to-head it would have the same amount of torque as a 2212. I kind of doubt it, but anyway, so good lesson learned for me here today. You know, the one other motor that I did test that I've been using quite a bit is a 2207, so it's a little bit longer than the 05. It's a 2780 kV, and it's just a rocket motor. I would say probably bit, you know, obviously with the extra kV, would still be a bit faster than this motor. But yeah, so very, very pleasantly surprised with that. I'm just going to show you, if you buy, unplug this here. I wrote a blog post on my initial impressions of this motor already, and I did, like I said, I did do one quick bench test just with this prop. I'll probably over time bench test it with more props, but like I said, this is definitely, thanks to RC Plane Pirate, this is definitely my my favorite park jet prop right now across pretty much all the motors I run it in. But what I'm going to tell you is that there's normally on these black quad racing motors you get from RC Timer, there's like a label that goes around the can here, and it's actually just tape. It almost feels to me like almost like a silicone tape maybe, and it comes off pretty easily. One of my other motors, the tape actually came off in the air, and it just made one heck of a racket. Heard me, scared the living daylights out of me. Luckily it didn't foul the prop or foul the motor. It actually just sort of hung on. So from now on, whenever I buy one of these from RC Timer, I'll take the tape off, which is what I did today. So yeah, there we go, folks. Very pleased with the performance there. Again, noticeably better torque than the 2205. Good little motor. Peppy, I think it's, and again, not too expensive, about $11 US when I purchased it from RC Timer. Of course, you know, it took forever and a day to get here, but you know, that's just kind of the way it is dealing with some vendors. So Thanks for watching. Please check out the comments down below. There'll be links to more info, including the data, the bench test data that I got on this motor, and other things. So blue skies, calm winds to everyone. Fortunately, we have a lot more blue sky today than we have recently, and no ice fog, so I'm looking forward to a great day of flying. Park jet noise, the other sound of freedom, baby. Take care.